And we're back. We're back, everybody. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia podcast. It's just Glenn and Charlie. Charlie, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing pretty good, Glenn. I'm doing pretty good. We're not together in the studio, and unfortunately, we can't be together in the studio due to a major lice and pinworm outbreak, thanks to Rob McElhenney. He's at home. He's getting cleaned up and hosed down. But
He's got worms coming out of every inside, outside. There's worms everywhere, all over his house.
Unfortunately, we can't be around him. But that's only the good news is that it should be completely cleared out of his system within a good 8 to 10 weeks. So, you can only anticipate maybe 10, 15 of these Zooms to be safe. And then hopefully the worms have eaten the lice, and then we can attack the worms and clear it all up.
We need like worms that kill other worms. You know what I mean? Like you just send in like an army of worms to take out the other worms. You know, is that a thing?
They got those hammerhead worms.
But what if they turn into ghost worms and ghost lice, and then we got to deal with all of those
that's a whole thing.
So.
Oh my God! Think of all the bugs that we've killed and all the ghosts of bugs that are out there. You know, if you were the type of person who could see, you know, that type of thing, like what is that? Like not a paranormal, but like a psychic, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Boy,
I thought about that the other day because we had the argument about ghosts and why you don't see a ghost of a worm, and then as my mind tends to do, then later I have a counter argument with myself, and started questioning. Well, maybe worms see ghost worms. And, and humans only see, but if you're a worm, you might see the ghost of a worm, So it could be,
smart.
You're tapped into, whatever you're tapped into. Because the worm doesn't even see us, do they? I don't know what a worm sees. Worm's blind, I think. A worm's blind. Anyways, we're back on the Sunny Podcast and talking about worms again.
Okay, Mac is a serial killer. I loved this episode.
I did too. I did too. Yeah,
I loved it. I've always loved it, and I love it now.
I want to say something on the record. Like, I've enjoyed all these episodes. I know sometimes maybe the fans hear us being analytical, and they might mistake that for a dislike of the episode. I think that's us just trying to understand where we were, how we got to where we got to, and where we are today, so we can make the episode as best as we can. But the more as they go along, I like them more and more. The character dynamics. I mean, we're building out the world in this one in a great way with the moms and Mac's dad. And Cricket really
the lawyer.
This is the first time we did the lawyer gag, I think.
So great.
And it's very funny.
It's great. Yeah, no, it's terrific. And I also love how you kind of slip into the whole Shelley the Machine Levine thing again. Whenever you put on the short sleeve button down shirt and the tie, you sort of become Jack Lemmon and Glengarry Glen Ross.
He likes to play adult.
Right.
I mean, I love the interview of Mac's mom, like interrogating her. Oh man, that's so good.
I absolutely love this episode. I thought it was great. I love the lawyer stuff is so funny to me. Just you thinking that you've watched enough episodes of Law and Order that you think you understand, the sort of the key phrases and terms, and you feel like you could get in there and actually defend someone, and with that knowledge. And it's I don't know. It's so stupid, but it's so funny.
It's like a shtick, but it's a fun shtick.
My favorite is the scene where you're talking to Mac and you're like, I got to get in there and dun 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 dun, and you just start doing the theme
start
song.
singing the Law and Order theme song.
So funny.
It's very funny. Trying on his Drakkar Noir, and then he senses it, he smells it.
Yeah. Did you ever wear Drakkar Noir? Do you have any good cologne from your youth that you used to spritz on?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I I really like that Calvin Klein obsession.
Sure.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
I
my first cologne.
No, I think I smelled like Right Guard. Or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
secret.
don't think I any. Yeah.
Just the Drakkar Noir reference is just so funny to me because it's a very specific thing, right? It's to like the average person, it's like it feels like a very expensive, very fancy cologne, and yet, it's like in every department store, and it was like one of the most ubiquitous colognes out there. But but to characters like our characters, we're like, whoa, like Drakkar Noir is like
there's certain
shit.
things too that like catch on and become sort of just funny, like body acts or whatever, like things that are like targeted for men and taken very seriously that seem very not serious and are fun to make fun of. Glenn, you as the To Catch a Predator guy.
Oh, so funny.
Yeah, Chris.
Not so young and attractive, is she, Mac? Maybe my favorite line, like,
so much.
are you
like,
here to see a young, attractive woman? Or Sandy, a young, attractive blonde, and then D comes out with the camera?
You must be very disappointed.
I loved especially you had so many good runs at Dee's expense this episode. The whole thing about like he'd spend all day cutting you up. He'd never get the job done. He'd get the job done.
Is this the episode that we came up with calling Dee a bird?
Well,
Because we call her Larry Bird?
We've talked about this a little bit. We did call her Big Bird in season 2 when she's wearing
when she had on the basketball suit.
Yeah, when she had the
Pantsuit.
basketball suit on, the pantsuit. We refer to her as Big Bird, and I think that was the first time we referred to her as a bird. And then I think this was the one that set it off, where it was like calling her a bird became like a thing. But yeah, I agree, Meg. I think some of that I don't think that stuff was really scripted. I remember on the day when we were shooting that. We just kept building and building and building, and just like at take after take, it was different every single time. And it's kind of amazing
this
because
one person, how many people have I cut up?
how many people have I murdered? How could be? Yeah. But I remember, I remember, I mean, it's pretty great actually how it feels scripted in the sense that it's so tight. The back and forth is so tight, but I'm almost certain it was not scripted. And I love how Caitlin's jumping in there. It's also so funny to me that she is so concerned with fitting. She would rather fit the profile of a serial killer's victim than not be considered a young, attractive blonde. Like she would rather think of herself as someone who's in danger of being murdered by a serial killer than to have us think that she's not a young, attractive blonde. Like that's so fucking funny to me, man.
Even just you in the bushes with a big puffy coat is funny. Just the fact that you had the puffiest coat. We never see you wear a coat like that before or after, but you got it for that scene. Which is great.
Yeah, it's great.
That was a really funny back and forth with Pepper Jack, just how quickly he asks her about who she's with and how quickly he like assumes her, so that by the time you get out of the bushes, she's already his best hoe. And he's not like, it's just such a funny back and forth.
He was great. And when we went back to him this season to have him back, it must have been so bizarre for him.
Yeah, no, you're right. To come in and do one scene as a character on a show, and then 14 years later be called back to play that same character. I mean, I remember it was so great to see him because he was so excited to come back, and he was, excited to step back into those shoes. And I remember I asked him, I was like, did you have to like watch the episode like a few times to remember the mannerisms and the way that he spoke and all that kind of stuff? And he studied all that. And it was a pleasure having him back. Such a sweet dude.
Do you guys remember the origins of this episode? Did it come out of like a Law and Order thing, like that you were? Or
I don't remember, but this is one of the first episodes, and we don't do too many episodes like this. But there's a certain style of comedy, right, which is mistaken information, where one character thinks they're talking about one thing, the other character thinks the character is talking about something completely different, and the joke is basically coming from that. It's almost like a sort of like a Neil Simon-esque technique or whatever. It feels not dated, but it feels like more old school in a way, you know?
Yeah, it's very very typical of a farce, which we tend to be a little bit more satirical and less farcical, but
farcical. That's what it is. Yeah,
I think it's great when we slip into that. I think it's if done well, it's like you make a choice like that, you just kind of lean into it and you don't question it too much and you just kind of go with it. Characters talking at cross purposes. One person thinks that they're saying one thing and the other person thinks they're saying something totally different. And I kind of love that. Even though we've talked about like how we don't. Well, I guess Rob's talked about how he doesn't like it when we're spoofing things. We do spoof To Catch a Predator, which is an ancient show now. But I love it. I think this episode's very clever. Like we pack a lot of shit into this. There's a lot packed into this episode. It's pretty jam packed with good stuff.
I like how the scene is shot of you chasing after Mary Elizabeth with Caitlin. And if my memory serves me correctly, actually Matt Shackman shot that scene. I think it was Jerry Levine's episode, but I think because we were in Philly and Jerry couldn't come to Philly, Matt picked up that.
I think you maybe
walk and talk on the streets. Yeah.
I think you're right. Yeah. I think he shot the Philly stuff because Jerry wasn't able to come to Philly for some reason.
And that's one of the first times where we have you actually like considering possibly killing someone.
That is so funny.
And like, I remember the time being like, wait, is this too far for the character? And nothing would seem to be too far. Like the further we could get, we would just chase down those roads for everybody.
Yeah, that's what we were learning, right? In this season, as we've talked about many times on the podcast, like how we were pushing things in this season to see how far we could go. And this was one of those things where it was like, well, what if he really does start fantasizing about killing this woman, killing the waitress? And
it's your disappointment when you realize, wait, you're not actually going to do that. That's so funny. Like, oh yeah,
yeah. Right. It's forgetting that we're not actually killing her. That we're just going through all the steps that lead up to the killing, and then having to switch gears. Okay, yes, right.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Right. We're not. Yeah. No. Of course.
Back to the real world. Then there's some disappointment in that.
Yeah. And still not being able to totally let it go. Being like, just being like, it'd be better if I could actually, But yeah. No. You're right.
Yeah. The hands of going out to strangle her.
But no. You're right. You're right. No. We're not gonna. Yeah. I love the twist. I love the. I don't think you see the Gary thing coming at all. I don't think you see that coming at all. It just comes off like a schlub that Sweet D is taking advantage of. And, I also love that we put the question to him about the gardening shears of like, do you think this would cut through bone? And his answer, the way he answers it, the way I think you interpret it as the audience, the first time you're seeing it is like, I guess, like, why would someone ask me that, right? Is the subtext of that. When really his subtext is like, oh, I have to be careful how I answer this because I know the answer to this.
Yeah. Or like, do they know something about me and how do they know it?
Right. Know? Yes. Yeah. But but by the way, jumping to the end, like your reaction, your joy at having won the case and then going to get a beer. And then I remember when we were shooting that, like, it was one of those things where like, I don't know if maybe when we were, because we always, when we do our 3-man rewrite of every episode, we're always acting this stuff out. And I do think that I think that I knew you were going to do something like that, and getting to watch you actually do it in the episode was such a joy. Like that the whole like there's heads.
Yeah,
it's
heads.
It's a
10,
fridge
15
full of
heads in there.
Yeah, there might be a beer back there, but I'm not going to go looking for it.
Yeah. I think I think when we I don't know if you remember this, but when we got there on the day to shoot that, and they filled that fridge with heads, it was all like male heads. There was like maybe one woman, and it was all dudes. And
I
it was
remember
like
there's something wrong where they looked terrible. Were they not covered in frost? We frosted them up, right? So
I'm not sure about that. I do remember, however, that that it was. It should have just been a fridge full of heads of young blonde
Right, because
women.
we had established that it was
women,
young blonde women. Yeah.
Right, but instead it
Right.
was like it was a variety pack of
Well, those are
people.
the
I mean,
ones they
which-
found.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
those are the ones that people were concerned when they were missing. You know, like,
Oh God, that's so.
you know, like, you know, he popped off a few sort of drifters as well, and
That's a good explanation.
Yeah.
but I mean, I do think that's actually the case when things like that happen, which is like, you know, I think those people sort of test their skills first on people that won't draw attention, and then
Why am I laughing?
I don't know. I don't want to know.
I've always thought that the reason he was killing blonde women was because he couldn't have D. And there was some reason, like, because he clearly is really infatuated with her. Did you guys mean that? That, like, he actually was killing blonde women because he was
No,
obsessed
I don't think
with
we
D?
ever pictured anyone really
No?
wanting to. That was sort of that's sort of part of the lore of the show. Is
It is very
Except
fun.
cricket.
Right. Right.
Yes. Yeah.
It is very fun to like. Oh,
hey man.
oh no way! Whoa!
I'm so
Thank
sorry.
you so much.
Thank you so much.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so
Are you,
sorry.
how itchy?
All joking
How itchy
aside,
is it though? But seriously, how itchy is it? We've already informed the audience that it was, you know,
It was
you're dealing
worms.
with the lice and the pinworms, and
I'm so sorry. This is terrible. All joking aside, I'm so sorry. Your time is my time is not more valuable than yours. We agreed to this time. I fucked it up. I'm late. I did my best. As you can see, I'm like sweating.
You're schwitzing?
I'm schwitzing, but I'm so
The walk
sorry
to the
to
back
you. I'm
house
so sorry
got
to
you.
Megan. I'm so sorry to the audience. I fucked it up.
Well, also, your mic is not.
No,
is
it's not
not
on.
being
I literally
used.
just turned this on and was like,
Okay.
how quickly can I get into this?
Okay, so
Jump
we'll just
on
scrap
in.
that. For
Yeah,
don't
that's
let's
okay.
not even bother. Don't even bother to set it up. We'll do it next
Yeah, don't
time.
worry about it, man.
Just leave it.
I'm a
It's
daddy.
not going to work,
What?
Rob. We'll do it later. No, your mic's off. I'm going to leave all this in the cut.
It's just me apologizing for me fucking up.
Just
Hello?
leave it.
Can
It's
you hear
fine.
me?
We can hear you. Yeah, but it's not coming through
Okay.
that mic, so it's fine. But just move it out of the way, and we'll just take it through the audio that
Next time, baby,
we get.
you're gonna have plenty
Next
of
time.
chances.
It's okay.
Hey, Rob.
Okay.
Rob.
Yes.
Rob.
Yes.
Calm down.
Yes.
Calm down. Take a deep breath.
Take a deep
You know,
breath.
grab a piece of ice or something, rub it all over your face and your body, and just
We'll get
there you
into
go.
it.
You getting the
There you
ice
go. You
right
see,
now?
Look,
What am
look
I
at my
hearing?
face. Look at my nose is getting red again, and I haven't had any alcohol. So now I think we're realizing that when I overheat, my nose just gets, I don't know.
Either that or you're drinking now during the day. Oh, what is that?
Are you sure you're not drinking?
Vodka?
Vodka?
Could it be
You got a
vodka?
whole thing of vodka. The nose knows. The nose
buddy,
knows.
the bummer of it is that I feel like we've been going over so many great highlights of this episode. Did you get a chance to watch it?
I did, and I loved it.
Okay,
It's a goodie. It's a goodie.
It's really, it's
Well,
good, right?
What we
Yeah.
haven't gotten into in this episode is Mac and how good Mac is in this episode. And you know, you do a gear in this episode that you do in Max banging Dennis's mom, where you have this secret that you don't want anyone to know, and you play it really funny. You have this thing where you like sort of repeat people's sentences when they speak to you. It's like they'll be like, "Hey Mac, how you doing?" You'd be like, "How you doing?" Like or some kind of thing that you do that's really funny. I don't know, but I think you do it in these two episodes, and then we never did it again. But it's a good
We
gear.
should go back to it.
We
Well,
should.
thank you.
We should get you hiding something.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
also funny. Like, I mean, again, you know, we're always talking about the characters' just complete and total obliviousness. But one of my favorite lines ever of yours is in this episode when you're talking to Carmen, and you know, she's saying, "Why? I feel like you don't want to be seen with me," and you're like, "No, I don't mind being seen with you. I just, you know." Whatever, but like but the line is that's just one of my favorite lines of yours ever is I'm not ashamed of you. I'm ashamed of myself.
Yes. And that's supposed to
Which
make
I
you
just-
feel better.
It's a good blow.
Exactly right. It's just
Yeah.
a great example of saying something that you think is like,
Yes.
you think you're saying like, no, I'm not ashamed of you. I'm ashamed of myself.
No, you're great. You're
Yeah.
great. It's just that I'm ashamed of being with you.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Which is just,
again, that's us just leaning all the way into it as far as we could.
yeah.
Always making the joke about these pieces of shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I really like the moment where you bring the wine coolers and then she's like, did you bring the condoms? And you're like, not really into the whole condom thing.
Ooh,
Yeah.
not really into the whole condom thing.
Yeah.
There's so many great moments in this episode where characters we're doing the thing that we do talk about, where we're on the same page overall, but undercutting each other along the way and disagreeing on the details. Just through the whole episode. You know what I mean? Just like like.
Was this the first episode we see Mac's bedroom? Because of the joke where when Frank walks in, where he goes like, "What's the decor in here? What's the vibe in here? What's he going for? Like prison cell?" Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like
do you
this
remember
was the first time.
And that's actually I'm the more astute creep will pick up on the fact that that does not look like Mac's bedroom, because it wasn't. It was actually Dennis's bedroom but we had that year, for whatever reason, we didn't build your bedroom. We just thought like, oh, we'll just redress Dennis's bedroom and make it look like Mac's bedroom. So the orientation of that room, where the door is, where the bed is,
where the door
it doesn't
is.
track with what we've said your room looks like now. I don't know why we didn't then build your room to look like that. That would have made more sense. I think it was like a stage space thing or whatever, but
it's always money. It always comes down to money. We didn't have the money to do it right, basically.
It's both money and experience on our part, right? To say like someone's cutting corners on our behalf, but like the three of us didn't know to say, hey, let's not cut that particular corner. Go ahead and cut some other corner, but that one matters to us. And that just comes with experience. Yeah.
Did you guys notice? I don't know if you talked about this already. That there's music, there's ambient music that's playing in the background of the scene in the hardware store, that we're essentially saying is playing in the background, is actually playing in the store. That would be source. And it is now score that we use as transitional music. And actually we use it quite often.
No.
Yeah.
Did you notice
So
that?
that was the first time we'd ever used that song. It was as source music. For the listener or creep out there who doesn't know that, I think you explained it, but yeah, source. When you put source music in, that means you're putting music in that's actually playing, that's actually supposed to be in the scene with the characters.
Yeah, it's coming from a car radio, a speaker at a restaurant,
as opposed to score,
iPhone.
which the characters don't hear, because that's score. But I didn't notice that. I don't even know what.
Is it the
No, it's faster paced. In fact, we should probably play that clip right now. Gang, we want you to know that this podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy.
If you're not familiar with BetterHelp, it's an online therapy service that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with licensed therapists all around the world. How it works is you answer questions and BetterHelp assesses your needs and matches you with the right person to talk to in less than 2 days. It's not just about who's around you or who's available. It's about who's best for you.
Yeah, I've actually used BetterHelp before because I had a sort of temporary problem that I wanted to see a therapist quickly about. And it was really, really easy to use. I signed up and they matched me with someone really quickly.
Well, that's the best part of it, right? You get matched to the person that's the most right for you. You're not like tethered to, whoever's in your area, whoever's available, whoever you can get an appointment with. You can get matched with the right person from all over the world, and you don't have to sit in traffic and go to the person's office. You get to just do it right from your laptop computer.
That's right. Always Sunny podcast listeners get 10% off their first month of online therapy at betterhelp.com/sunny.
Creeps, you are already reading this with your eyeballs, but listeners, that's HELP, not Better Health.
Go to betterhelp.com/sunny for 10% off your first month of therapy. Oh, that. Okay, so we had never used that as score before. We found it, used it as source, and then we were like, "Oh, that's good. Let's start using it as score."
Or maybe we had and we just didn't care. I don't know. We were like, oh, maybe it can be both.
Oh, I wouldn't put it past us to have used it as score and then just used it as source because it was the only thing that fit that we liked, and we didn't want to spend a bunch of time on it.
Yeah, or money. What about Pepper Jack?
We talked about.
We mentioned it, but we haven't gone
Marquise.
in depth into it.
Yeah, he's amazing.
This is the first mention of Larry Bird. You've already talked about that.
We
Larry
have
Bird?
yes. There's the first. The second mention though of D being a bird. First being calling
Yes.
her Big Bird in the basketball episode, but then this one, first time we called her Larry Bird, and then I think that's where it took, right? Then she became. Then we just started calling her Bird after that, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
There's such a weird delay. There's a weird delay in, and I don't know if it's because we're waiting for each other to speak or if there's actually just a delay. But I'm like, there's like a full second after somebody speaks to where somebody else speaks, and it's really fucking up the rhythm. Is anybody else feeling that, or am I just coming in and fucking up a rhythm that you guys created and it was working?
I don't know. I won't say we were like on
seconds.
fire. But we had to think about it though. That was just
Okay.
That was thinking.
I was gonna pause for a full 3 seconds, and I was really hoping that you would do the same thing.
Just like fake freezing.
Well, there was like
yeah.
an 18-minute delay in you showing up, Rob.
Yeah,
I don't know
there was
if you
an
felt that.
18-minute drag.
We felt that. Yeah.
We sure felt that.
And then we've repeated some things here, so that's part of it, like an echo.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Megan, didn't you have some questions for us? Did you want to prompt us on anything?
I did have some questions for you. One is, have you ever dated anyone that you kept from your like friends and family, like didn't want anyone to know about?
Yeah.
You have?
You have?
Well, I mean, not since I've been married. You said like it's the most lascivious thing ever.
But what was the
What were you hiding?
details? What were you ashamed of?
I
Or
wasn't
not say?
ashamed. Well, it was weird to me. You know, this is something that came, I think, a little bit later in my dating life, where if I was dating somebody, but it wasn't like my girlfriend and it was like serious, I kind of kept it separate from the rest of my life because it felt weird. You know, like, and you guys always had those friends, right? Who were just like every single time you hung out with them, they were like dating a new person, and you're like, oh, okay, and they're like, yeah, this is so and so, and you're like, oh, okay. I thought, what happened to you know? And they're like, oh no, I'm dating this person now, you know, and you're just like, okay, do you have to introduce me to every motherfucker that you date? Like, really? Seriously? You're gonna fucking bring like always bringing like it brings an energy to like a get together or a party that like kind of can throw shit off if it's like, if you don't know for sure that person's going to click with your group of friends or whatever, but like, you know, I don't know. So I kept it separate a lot, actually. Sadly.
Keep it separated, man. You gotta.
Well,
you gotta,
I kept the fact that I was dating my spouse. She was not my spouse at the time, but I was dating my co-star from you guys. So maybe that would count. Yeah, that counts.
Sure.
That's a big one.
It's idiot.
Weird.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Wouldn't come
great.
with it.
It's crazy that I didn't see it. It's fucking crazy. Cause we'd be in our apartment and she would be like, oh, I'm just going to go to sleep on the, you know, we built that big mattress platform thing that we could watch movies on and shit. She'd just like pass out on that. And then I'd wake up the next morning and you know, she was there and I was just like, yeah.
We were counting on the fact that you're always just doing your own thing.
Yeah,
You were just focused on what you were
Yeah.
doing. And we were like, Glenn's not going to notice shit. Trust me.
And
it's all good.
you were totally right. I did
You were
not notice
totally-
shit.
You were right.
Yeah. That's one. Yeah. I don't feel like you needed to keep secret, but
No.
I understand the.
But actually, for the
motivation.
same reason that Glenn brought up, which is that if it didn't work out, and that I think we were even mature enough at the time to recognize, like, look, if this doesn't work out, we don't want it to ruin the dynamic of the TV show because the TV show is working, and we can keep it professional and personal sort of separate. So if we brought you into it, and then it kind of fell apart, might just be weird. And I think that was a huge part of it too.
Yeah, totally.
I don't think I ever kept a relationship secret. They were hard to get. So if I got one, everybody knew. And then I've been in one for, I don't know, 55, 60 years now, a good long stretch. So.
Does anybody keep anything to themselves anymore? Because it feels as though I don't want to be the old man out here in the podcast space bitching about the next generation, because it's not the next generation. It's everybody. It's everybody of our generation. It's our parents' generation below. Everybody is just, they're not holding anything back at any point. Everybody needs to be expressing themselves at all times, and they need to feel heard at all times. And it doesn't matter if maybe it's something so private that you could just maybe navigate that yourself. You don't need to bring that out into the world and be heard at all times. I know that oftentimes I'm a real piece of shit. And if I express myself and I'm in those moods, publicly, I immediately, maybe the 4 or 5 times I've done it, I'm like, oh, that was so stupid. That's not me. That's not representative of who I am. Do you feel that way?
Doesn't represent me.
Represent me.
But because I felt the need to tell everybody everything in this exact moment, and I have access to everybody at every moment, I fucked it up.
I definitely don't tend to overshare in that way. Probably for the same reasons that you don't. It seems weird to me. I mean, and it's not, I have no problem sharing things and being very authentic and honest about what's going on. I mean, I think we've hit moments like that often on this podcast where, we stop down and we get very real, and we're not making jokes and shit, and we're just, talking about real stuff. But yeah, I don't feel the need to share every aspect of my life with everyone. And to be clear, it wasn't that I ever kept a relationship a secret. I never like purposely was like, ooh, I can't let anyone know. It was just I kept them separate. It was more like I kept them separate. I kept those things separate. It was like I had my group of friends, and then I had someone that I was dating, and I
think that's totally fair to be like, I don't know about this person yet, and I'm not sure I want to like cross that bridge of bringing them into my friends, which you probably prioritized at that time in your life. And it's, look, I'm deeply uncomfortable sharing stuff. I rarely like post anything on the internet. I'm not on Twitter. I don't know why. I guess I could kind of do some work on that, but no,
I don't think I know why. It's because you're a private person, and I think that's very normal to be a private person, and also like it does color, if too much of your life is out there for everyone to know about and see, it colors their perception of you every time you play a character. I mean, I know for me,
I agree with that. Look, I think also, Glenn, you and I know specifically got into this because we had a love for acting, and we had a love for a very certain style of acting, which I don't know if it exists anymore, but like, we were idolizing those sort of 70s, iconic actors that some were method, some weren't method, but that the acting was the most paramount thing in their life. And you didn't know much about them personally, so that every time they appeared on screen, you were like, oh man, I'm going to get to see fill in the blank. What Daniel Day-Lewis, which kind of nothing about, but you want to go see him in the theater, or Joaquin Phoenix or somebody.
I don't like that the line has blurred so much, between being a celebrity and being like a personality, like we touched on this a little bit last time we were talking about the whole like Paris Hilton thing, and I was, half jokingly saying that I find that whole thing disgusting, but like I've always been very uncomfortable with the idea of being famous. Now, I would like to draw a distinction between, just being sort of a celebrity in general and being someone for whom your work means something to them, right? So, like, I absolutely love it when somebody who's a big fan of Sonny or anything that I've done comes up and it's like, hey man, I really like your work. That feels good to me. I'm like, this person enjoyed my work. That's what I always wanted to put out into the world. I never wanted to be a personality. I never wanted to be like, I a celebrity or whatever. I just wanted to do good work, and when that's appreciated, it's great. But like, to be famous for, I don't know, like whatever people get famous for these days, that's not.
Well, there's a tipping
substance.
point with fame where it really can become like, you look at like Pete Davidson, who I like so much. I've worked with him and
He's
met
great,
him. And
man. He's funny.
He's a great guy. And I think he's super funny and talented. You start dating Kim Kardashian and the eyes of the world are on you and you're in a different level of fame. And how does that affect people when you show up in a movie? Hard to say, but in terms of like Sunny fans coming up to us, it's great. Like, I love people knowing the show, and I like when people come up to me and say that they like the show. And I kind of want to go back to something I said 2 episodes ago where, Megan, you were asking about memes, and I made a joke that it was meaningless to me or whatever. The truth is, I love it. Like, when I read memes, I fucking laugh my ass off because they're all hilarious. I love that anytime someone wants to refer to someone as insane, they put up a picture of me in front of the corkboard. Like, that's like one of the best things that's ever happened to me in my life.
Yeah, it's a big. Any conspiracy theory is often, the meme is often you from that episode. Yeah.
Yeah, but I also don't want to just constantly be on the internet telling people what I'm eating for breakfast, and I'm really grateful that we don't get like chased around by paparazzi, which we all know people who are like that, and it's tough on them. It's a crazy life.
I would really struggle with that. I can tell you that right now. It's terrifying to me. It's this weird thing where like, but you also recognize that celebrity has value in helping you to get the kind of gigs that you want as an actor, right? So if you mean something to people, if you are a celebrity, if you're a big enough celebrity and you have a big enough following or like fan base or whatever, you're more likely to get those big roles that you want.
The moment in time that you're referring to, Charlie, which was, yes, the 70s and 80s, but it was really like 100 years of popular culture that we were at the tail end of, where you were making connections with characters in movies and or television shows, and you were identifying with them, and you were making those connections, and they were bringing you a different perspective of life. They were bringing you joy. They were bringing you sadness. They were bringing you the full range of human experience, and you had a connection to those characters. And I think what's happening now, or has been happening for the last 15, 20 years, and very acutely now, is that I think people's connections to characters has changed insofar as we are now, for example, giving access to people in a way that we hadn't in the past. We've only done it through the work. But this would be an example, the podcast itself, where we're giving access to people who, in a way that we haven't done before. It's actually us. And I think that's a huge part of why social media is such a huge part of our culture now, is because people are getting past that artifice and they're having now a connection with you as you are. Now, whether or not we're willing to give that to them that's the scary line, right? But I think it's still the same insofar as it's people seeking to identify with another human being, a character or a real person, but someone who brings a little bit more light to their life.
Yeah, I think then it boils down to like, what do you want personally in terms of like, what do you want to give? Not like, what are you capable of giving, but like, what do you want to give? Like, I'm finding this to be a good experience just because of connecting with you guys. And I'm glad that it's reaching an audience and connecting them too. The thing that turns me on the most just as a person is making, so let me use a hoity-toity word, but making a piece of art, right? Like making an episode of the show, making a movie, like really kind of creating and making a thing, which is not me in my life, but that's pretty much all I care about. Like, that's just my passion in life. That's what excites me. That's what I feel like gives me meaning and purpose. So it's interesting but it's a balance, right? Because I also know, okay, if I go do that, if I go do whatever, Horrible Bosses or I Want You Back, there's an expectation from the studio that I also sell the movie by selling myself, right? So like, go on a talk show, go be you, like, go on a show where you eat increasingly hot sauce, which I think when I went on, I remember being kind of in a grumpy mood, being like, wait, where am I? What am I doing? And then, of course,
I'm doing a hot sauce show now? What the fuck happened?
I know. And now it's like one of my favorite things I
Al
got to
Pacino
do.
never did a hot sauce show.
Well, kind of. But they're
it's just whatever your artistic line is, right? I mean, like,
what's the line for
so
you
as a fan of Glenn, I recognize, I can see in his camera that he is staying in a hotel room. There's a part of me that wants to know how many times today or since you got to the hotel room have you masturbated? I want to know. Now, I want to know that as your friend. I want to know that as a fan of yours because I find it funny. I'm picturing you landing and being like, I haven't been away from my family in like a year and a half. I'm going to lock this door and I'm going to beat my dick like it owes me money. And I'm going to do it for like a solid 3 hours.
Yeah, I'm gonna strip at least 3 or 4 layers of skin off this thing.
Yes,
you know what I mean. Like,
now,
there's gonna be people banging on his hotel wall, being like, "Are you okay in there? Is everything okay?"
I hear a lot of screaming.
Are you okay?
There's so much screaming. And you're doing voices. How many people are in there? It's just one.
Yeah.
It's just one, but I'm an actor. And don't worry about it. It's fine. I play all the characters.
I'm getting into character.
It's like an Eddie Murphy thing every time I masturbate, all right? Just
getting into character. Leave me alone.
Don't talk right now. Not now. Don't talk to me now.
So I can understand the desire from a person out there in the world. Like I think that would be amazing if I'm listening to Smartless and Jason were to go check himself into a hotel room and he would start talking about that. I would find it absolutely fascinating and probably hilarious. But there's also a weird connection because anybody that's alone or have been alone or away from people for the first time in a long time knows exactly what that feeling is like. But we don't talk about it a lot in public because it's either base or private or whatever. I get that too. And I also understand why you wouldn't want to tweet that out to the world. But yet I still would love to hear.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's why you built a whole separate little house for yourself, right? So that you could just have.
Right. That's
you call it.
Maybe why you were so sweaty and 18 minutes late. It's
right. Yes. This was not for sweat.
Oh no. For the listener at home, he's holding up a dark
raccoon.
I thought it was a raccoon.
It's dry.
Get the pelts.
Well, it's dry
Megan
now.
almost threw up. I think Megan almost threw up. Yeah, there's been look. I spend a lot of time down here. I'm a human being.
Yeah, of course.
From time to time, I find time for myself.
You have needs and a high speed internet connection, and one thing leads to another. And somebody brought to my attention, and I don't want to kick horses while they're down, but the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard thing, like apparently in their trial, somebody had pooped in the bed, and and they were talking about like who pooped the bed, and Sonny fans were delighted by this fact.
Yeah, of course. Like it is a strange reaction to something to be like, I'm gonna shit in bed. I'm gonna shit in the fucking bed. I'm gonna shit the bed. How do you like me now? I shit the bed.
Oh wait, was it done on purpose?
I've not been reading. Someone just told me about this, and I'm like, yeah.
Okay. I think it was a vengeful. I think it was a vengeful act.
Vengeful act. Oh gosh,
I believe so.
You can probably measure the poop for the levels of stress.
It was there's rings. There's rings.
Yeah, if it's a high stress excretion, then
it's going to come out in a blast. It's going to come out wet, and it's going to come out fast.
Yeah, poop with intent.
Again, I feel like I'm boring. I'm not only boring sexually, I'm boring with like my revenge schemes. That would never occur to me. I'm going to go in and I'm going to defecate. Have you been doing
a lot of revenge?
I mean, I dabble in it, but not to that extent.
Yeah. I
not big on
I
revenge.
think I sort of go, with the old an eye for an eye, makes the whole world blind thing. You know what I mean?
Charlie just very sweetly and casually saying, Charlie just said very earnestly, I'm not big on revenge, which was very sweet.
Revenge, yeah.
And
just gotta
I
move
believe
on.
that would,
it's like,
I
with
don't
you.
dabble in revenge. I was just making a crack. I'm trying to think if I think there are consequences, meaning like I think there are natural consequences to treating me a certain way, but I wouldn't call that revenge.
That's not revenge,
right?
though.
That's not
But
revenge.
here's what freaks me out about revenge. I'm too scared that the person will then take it another step even further.
Exactly.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? That it's like, oh, someone did something to you, and then you're like, okay, great, I'm gonna poop in a box and mail it to them, and then they're like gonna poop in a box for the rest of my life and mail it to me. I'm like,
Yeah.
no way. I don't
I know
want
you get into that with the wrong person, and boy,
Yeah,
it never
yeah,
ends.
yeah.
huh?
Some
You
people
know?
are better at revenge than others, for sure.
Yeah, and they'll just keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think my issue with revenge is that once I can get 0 to a 10 very quickly, as we all can to a certain extent, but then I'm in the moment. I can see me doing something irrational, but 15 minutes later or 20 minutes later, I feel like I can calm down. And then the idea of some level of retribution for whatever happened would not occur to me. I don't think. Meg, you spent a lot of time with me. Have you noticed that
that you've been revengeful? No, you're so like good at confrontation in the moment that I don't ever see you like waiting for later to like you would just say it, you know, outright. Like I always say that my favorite part about working well with any of you guys in the writers' room is that I've worked for some showrunners that I can tell like I pitch something that they don't like, and they do this like whole song and dance of like letting me down gently by like, oh yeah, that's interesting, let's consider that idea. But you guys are great because you'll just be like, nah, that's not it. And then just move on. And I kind of appreciate that because like the there's something patronizing about like needing to let me down gently as opposed to just like being confrontational and be like, no, that's not it, because there's an assumption there that I'll come up with a better idea if you just tell me you don't like that one. So I prefer that, which is like just throw out the parts. Like I remember pitching The Gang Replaces D with a Monkey to you guys, and like the first time that I was pitching it, like I think there was a whole different story, and then the monkey was just like a very small part of it. You guys were like, well, we like the monkey, but like basically get rid of the rest of it.
Yeah.
And then I was
The
like,
monkey,
cool.
And,
That
was,
all
works.
right.
and as I
works.
recall, that was coming on the heels of another conversation about something else where we were talking about something being too broad.
Yes.
And we were like, we don't want to tip into too broad. And then we left to go do something else. We came back, you pitched us a story, and you very reticently were like, okay, and there's a point at which we possibly replace D with a monkey. And you were like, ugh, like just waiting for the like, that's fucking crazy. But instead we were like, well, now hang on a second. What if the whole thing was the monkey? You know what I mean? Just like, just-
In this season, there is sort of a joyful like silliness to some of the stuff that we might not approach anymore, which
season 3.
which I'm
That-
finding works better than I thought, where I'm like, oh, this is whatever. We're interrogating Mac's mom and with the headphones and the mic,
The
and it's just
chainsaw
fun.
thing that you want Frank to take your picture with the chainsaw and
Yeah.
you're doing that
Amazing.
like tongue thing. So
Yeah. The little bow you put on your mom's head or whatever. We'd probably still do that, but it's just so fucking fun.
But
that's
that
not-
form of
that's not-
communication, we've had that form of communication since the beginning, and I think that really is born out of respect. You're creating a room full of people, and everybody. The assumption is everybody deserves to be there because they've earned it. And now, if there's an idea that comes up that isn't good enough, it's not like you're taking someone's whole self-worth and saying, no, you're not only are you wrong, but you're incapable. It's more just like, no, the idea didn't work, but you're not identifying the idea with your ego. You're just saying, no, great, that didn't work, move on. So yeah, it's like born out of respect. And I think that was something we've always done, isn't it? Like I remember kind of in the
we
beginning.
would never like have someone pitch us something and be like, that's so stupid, you idiot. You know, like
No.
that's no, but we also like, we wouldn't like put on kid gloves and be like, that's a really good idea. Let's think about it. We'd be like, nah, that doesn't feel right. What else? And
Yeah.
then just keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep going.
So, and we do that to each other constantly.
Yeah. It's
what's
a safe
the
space.
Danny line again? You said, nah. What's the thing? Yeah.
Not that,
though.
Not that though.
Not that.
Not
though.
that,
not
though.
that, though.
Yeah, but no, not that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not that though.
Yeah, something like that, but not that.
Were you guys into true crime stuff at all? Like, do you ever? Because this episode's all about like kind of like true crime type serial killer stuff. Did you guys ever get into that?
I'm into
If you
that
can tell me,
to a certain extent, but I definitely know that's more of a female thing. Like all the women in my life are super into that. Like 2020 and Dateline and stories of women being dismembered and murdered for some reason appeal to. I don't know, is that you think you're getting tricks as to how you're going to evade the killer? But I also noticed that Caitlyn, even in the ones where it's like killer women, I'm like, oh, I get this. I understand. She was physically or emotionally abused, and she took revenge and poisoned her husband and killed him. And Caitlyn's like, nah, I don't care for that. I'm like, which ones are the ones you want to watch? And she's like, I don't know, like the woman's been gone for 20 years, and what happened to her? We don't know. That's so fucked up. What is that?
right?
I think it's because, like, at least I watched them, and it's like, it's both, yes, like you pick up, it's like things you're afraid of, so then you watch it and you're like, okay, well, like, note, never do this thing. But also I like feeling superior to the victims, because there's always a moment where I'm like, well, I wouldn't have done that, and therefore I wouldn't have died that way. So I have like a bit
cut
of
that,
like,
cut that.
Yeah.
Wait a second, don't cut that. Megan Gans blames the victim.
Superior to victims.
She's learning. She's learning.
well,
No, you're learning. You're like, oh yeah. I wouldn't have.
No, I get that from a primal, like, I get that primally, which is like, it's all survival of the fittest. And you're saying, oh, I don't want to be murdered. I would never have made that mistake. Therefore, I'm safe. I wouldn't be murdered.
yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
I get that.
I like the detective aspect of it. Like if you listen to Serial, you got to kind of play detective, right? You started to like get all the suspect, but then I always hit a moment where I'm like, oh man, this is somebody's real life. Like somebody's dead, and somebody's like kid is dead. Like what the fuck, like this is not my. We made a joke about this later in the season where we said like murder is the new like chips, right? This is not just chips for me to snack on. This is like somebody's fucking life.
It's awful. But also,
But it's compelling, right? Because we're terrified.
Well, tell your story faster. Tell it faster. You shouldn't. You know what I mean? Like Serial was one of those things where I was like, oh my God, this is like absolutely fascinating for about 3 episodes. And then I'm like, all right, get to it. Fucking wrap this shit up, you fucking jerks. It was the same way with, Making a Murderer or whatever. It was like,
they stretched it out.
I can't stand it when people tell me a fucking 2-hour long story in 10 hours. I'm like, fucking drives me crazy, man. So now if I see like a true crime series or whatever, like a thing that's like, oh, the story's going to unfold over even 4 episodes. If it takes you 4 episodes, even that's too much for me. I'm like, I'll do 2. 2 1-hour episodes. That's how much fucking time you've got to tell me this story. Otherwise, I'm out.
Because unlike the victim, you have a life to live. You got stuff to do.
Oh God,
man, damn, Megan.
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
You guys are talking about masturbating for like so long, but whatever.
Well,
yeah, but no one dies when that happens. Not usually.
In the patriarchy, we talk about masturbation. In the matriarchy, you guys are conceiving very rich webs of revenge, and this is terrifying. Listeners, creeps and listeners, be afraid of the matriarchy, because like all we want to do is just like talk about like our dicks and masturbation. Like women are out to kill.
I wonder what percentage of our audience just masturbates to the podcast. There's probably like one person, right? At least.
Should we give somebody? Should we give them something? Should we take our shirts off?
No, it's like every time you say like the letter S or P or like you're that kind of weird shit.
What?
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know. It's okay.
There's got to be one person out there, right? With a kink.
Well, can I ask you guys a question?
Keeps it on in the background.
David Hornsby once shared a video that somebody sent to him of, I think, 2 guys having sex, and in the background was a Good Girls episode that he was in, just like playing on the TV.
Wait a second. How did he get this video?
I don't
Yeah.
know, but he sent it to me like a while ago. It was so funny because like the guys were like really going at it.
You
and just
didn't
in the
ask him
background-
how he found this video?
Like it was like homemade porn that someone put on the internet, and
I
Hornsby was in the
guess.
back of the shot.
Yeah, it was great. I don't know how he. Yeah, I should ask him how he got it.
We've discussed my erotic tales 4 on this podcast before, right? We did, right?
No.
We covered that.
Not on the podcast, no.
Mm-mm.
You guys know
No, but let's-
you know the
What is
story,
that?
right?
Yes.
Well, yeah, I mean it's been a very long
But-
time since we've talked about it.
It was
I'd like to
one of
hear
my
it,
first. I had an agent, like a real agent, and they were sending me on things. I remember I auditioned for like Wet Hot American Summer, and like got a couple callbacks, and I think I was in the same casting office, and they had another audition. And it was a short movie. It was called Angela, and it was starring Victor Argo or whatever. And basically, my role was just there were 2 guys sitting in a bar having a conversation about sex. Like they had hooked up with some girl, and Victor Argo's overhearing their conversation, and he's sort of depressed about being past his sexual prime. And by the way, I don't even have the bulk of the dialogue. I think I'm just the guy be like, oh wow, man. Like that's like my part. And I remember and the director's name was like Amos Kolek or something like that. Israeli director, I think. And I get the part, and I go down the set. We're filming it, shot on film, and boy, this guy's up my ass. Like tons of notes. Like he's just hating my performance. I'm like, man, I'm just sitting here going, yeah. I like can't make this guy happy. But it's whatever. I shoot the couple hours. They let me go. Never hear about it. Movie kind of disappears, and then like a year or 2, or maybe even longer. It might have been like 5 years later. It shows up on my IMDb as Erotic Tales 4, Summer of My Deflowering. and so I guess it was like kind of like soft core-ish porn, like not porn, but like a Cinemax.
You didn't get the
porn,
who script,
you know?
huh? They didn't give you
So
the whole
Andrew-
script.
No, I just got the scene, but it's no
Oh,
longer
boy.
on there. Apparently,
It's not?
I
I'm looking
was
for it
cut
now.
out of the movie. I think some super fan had found the DVD and looked it up, and
so
my scene
And you-
no longer
You
exists.
ain't in it? Oh,
No, I
that's
didn't
make the
cut.
I
So
would
it's
like
kind of
to
a-
see that.
Which I have mixed feelings about. On the one hand, I'm relieved, and on the other hand, I also would like to see the scene.
Yeah, right. Of course.
Glenn, how many times have you masturbated?
I'm not gonna no
How
comment.
many times?
You're not
Just
going to
coming back.
dignify that question with a
I'm not gonna
response.
dignify that.
Is it
Don't do it.
between
You can't-
0 and
Daniel
is it
Day-Lewis
between
wouldn't
zero?
say. He just wouldn't say. Daniel Day-Lewis
Is it between
would
0 and 5?
leave the Zoom.
How long
I
you
mean,
been
the,
there?
the
2 days?
Riverside.
I got in last night.
Oh, so it's between 1 and 3.
Relax. Guys, I gotta pee. Can we end this fucking thing? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
you guys have done it.
We have to have done it.
We did it.
Well, Rob, thanks for joining us.